Hello. So today we're going to make the first page of our new hardback album, and it's a simple pocket and flap page. So let's get going. Right, so today we're going to make the inside front cover of our book, and I always like lots of pockets and interesting bits on that first page. So I've got the mat for the page, and that is 8 inches by 6 inches. And then the first thing I've done is I've cut a piece of black card, which I've cut at 5 7/8 by 4 6/8. So 5 7/8 by 4 6/8. And then I've scored at the 1/2 inch. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my decoration on the front. Now I've chosen that side specifically to fit this picture on. Now you may want to change the size depending on which set you are using and which pictures you're going to use. But I wanted a nice big bold picture on the front. The papers are from the Graphic 45 Midnight Tales collection. It's an old set. I don't know whether you can still get it. I just happen to have some left, so I'm going to use that as a Halloween one. So this is very simply just going to stick onto the front of there. I don't want to do anything else to it. I'm very happy with that just as it is. You could put a pocket on it, you could put a little secret page. I wanted specifically to have that as a bold statement when you first open the book. So I'm going to put some glue onto the back of this, like so. So that's going to go on to there, like that. So this was the first, my starting point for this page and this design was this picture. Okay, so then I wanted to think about what I was going to put in terms of the pattern paper for here. So I cut myself a piece of patterned paper at 7 3/4 by 5 3/4. And originally I chose the purple side because I just loved how it went with there, and it just picked up all the purples. But then I thought, well, that side, do it that way up, no, that way up, has got the oranges and the purples. So I wanted to get both sides in so that you have that contrast of colours. You've got the purple, but you've also picked up some of the orangey bits from down there. So what I decided I'd do is I'd create 2 panels on here, and I'll explain that to you in a moment. So that was how I chose the colours for the actual page. On the reverse of this, I found these beautiful papers, and again I wanted to pick out the purples and the oranges so that when I put it all together, you've got those purples and those oranges coming out throughout this page. And I didn't want to leave this page with nothing on it, as I did the front. So what I did was I used the Cool Cats slot dies. So these are the straight slot dies. I lined them up so that it was dead in the middle, and I used, and I'll show you this in more detail, but I used the lining guides from Cool Cats to get absolutely in the middle. And then just take that off there. Because there are middle notches in there, I was able to line it up absolutely in the middle. So when I take this off, you should be able to see there's quite a big slot there. So I'm going to stick this onto this page. Now be careful when you do that, because you don't want to put any glue where you're going to put things in the slot. So I'm going to go around the edge, all the way round, and then down the bottom just a very thin line. Obviously you've got to put some glue, otherwise everything's just going to fall out the bottom, which is not what you want. Then I'm going to go across either side of that slot, and then a little bit of glue on each edge, but nowhere near where the slot is. I'm then going to take some glue across the top of the slot, and then I'm just going to put some glue in there. So that's going to go on this side, making sure we're nowhere near the hinge, and we've got a nice neat border all the way round. So I'll try and get that as straight as I can. Okay, now you can either leave it like that, so I'm just going to, really important, I want that bit to stick. So just go all the way around the edges, down the bottom here. Or in here, you will have the piece, if I can get it out, that has been cut out. And you can put that back in to make an invisible slot. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to use my very fine nozzle, I hope. It's stuck. There we go. So, can't pick it up now, it's so fine. Okay, it doesn't want to pick up. So on the underside of here, I haven't used this glue for a day or two, so I hope it's going to work. Come on, there we go. I'm just going to put a little tiny line of glue, because what I don't want is for it to then stick. Now, I mean, if you haven't got the cool cast dies, that's fine. You can just make a little pocket, or just cut a little slit in. But if you've got the dies, and then making sure it's the right way up, because these are little cats and I want the little cats all to line up, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to get my pokey tool and just gently lift up that bottom edge. And then with that little bottom edge up, I can just get in there with my multi-purpose tool and just stick that down. So now you can see there's a slot, but it looks invisible. I mean, obviously I'm going to put something in there so that people can see there's a slot, but I can do that another time. So now I've got this part complete. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to my page, and I want to put this so that it is on here, dead center. So I'm going to take, so I was very lucky to get hold of these. These are from Cool Cats, and there's a whole set of centering pieces. So I'm going to find the center. This is 8 inches. So this piece is an 8-inch piece. It says in the corner there. And I'm just going to mark at 8 inches. Now I've already done this one obviously with a smaller one, and there's my mark. So all I've got to do is line up my 2 marks, and I know that that will be in the center. Obviously it will be the right way up. So I'm going to put some glue along here, and I can see where my mark is, and I can see where my mark is. So I'm just going to bring that in like that, and then make sure it's lined up level with here. which I can feel it's moved. That's it. So making sure it's absolutely level. And now I know that that is in the centre. I've also got a centering tool, which is this, which is a laser tool, or just get a piece of card the right size. So get a piece of card that length, fold it in half and mark there. But this is just an easy way of doing it if you make a lot of memory books or a lot of things where you need to find the centre point. Okay, so now I'm ready to decorate this inside piece. And as I said to you, I've got these pieces and I'm going to reverse that and that. So I'm going to work on this bit first. And what I'm going to do here is I've created 2 sets of photo slots. And I actually used my laser centerer, whatever you want to call it for this. So I centered it up and then I did 1/4 of an inch, or I think 1/2 an inch. Let me just check. Whoops. So I centered it up and yes, 1/4 of an inch from the top, and I cut one out. And then I reversed it, so it's 1/4 of an inch from the bottom, and I've cut the other one out. So these are the dies I've used. They're Corkat, and all they do is create a slot. So you've got 4 slots, and then using the other die that comes as part of the set, you can create the mat to go inside. Now you don't have to do this if you don't want to, because it does distract from the pattern, but I like to do it because I'm selling my books. I like people to know what size of photo they can fit in there, and they can take those out and use them as a template for cutting their photos. So this is going to fit directly on to here. So always make sure you've cut at least one of these out, because what you want to do, whether you can see, you want to make sure that the little black pieces that have gone through those slots are showing so that you know where not to stick. So I usually give them a wide berth and go round them like that. So a wide berth all the way round, down, wide berth round that one, and then a bit in the middle, and then we'll do the other side. So wide berth round that and round that, go all the way down to the bottom, round that, and then a bit in the middle. So that's going to go on to there, like so. Okay, and then the other half I've cut a mat for, and the mat for this is 2 3/4 by 8. So 2 3/4 by 8, so that fits really nicely onto there. Now I can have it like that, or if I wanted I could have it like that. So I'm just trying to decide which I prefer. Do you know what? I'm almost tempted to say I prefer to go with both purple. I'm going to go with both purple. That's, you know, it's completely up to you what you do, but I think I'm going to go yes, I'm going to go purple on purple. So I'm going to go round the edge of that, all the way round. This is one of the things I like about Graphic 45 papers, is that both sides are equally as lovely, and all the papers in the packs complement each other beautifully. Okay, so I'm happy with that. So I'm now going to go round the 3 edges of this. I always make sure my thumb is on the piece that I don't want to stick. So I'm going to go all the way around the 3 edges like so. And then I'm going to stick that so that the two edges there meet. The joy of wet glue is you can do that. And everything should now meet up. I can see I've got a tiny little bit too much, so I might just trim that off afterwards. So now I've got a pocket. I'm not going to play with it too much because the glue's not dry. So the last thing I want to do is to make sure people know that they've got to lift this. So I've used Cool Cat's dies. It's just one of those days where I've used Cool Cat's dies a lot. So I've got this, which has created my tag with the score line in the middle. And then I've got two that I've cut out of that. So the first thing I'm going to do is to find my middle, fold it, and just burnish that like that. Bit of glue on there. And then again, I couldn't decide whether I like the spider's web or the little cats. Do you know what? I went for the spider's webs, but now I'm looking at it again. I think I'm going to go for the little cats. So that's going to go on like that. So you can decide whether you want your cats. I think I'm going to have my cats walking like that. So although it's lovely to have two really nice sides to each piece of paper, sometimes making the choice about which one to have becomes more difficult. So I'm going to put that on there. And I'm wondering then, so that's going to go that side. So do I want the cats again, or do I want the spider's webs? Nope, I'm going to use the cats again. Okay, so I'm going to put the cats on this side as well. Like so. Like that. And then I'm going to put glue on both sides of this. Like so. And I'm going to centre this, but I don't know what size it is. It should be 5 inches. So let me find my 5-inch one. So my 5-inch one is clear, which makes it slightly more difficult. So that I can see my centre point, so I know roughly I want to have that centred with that. I'm just going to push it on a little bit more and then stick it down. So that is pretty much in the centre. Now you could, if you wanted to, have added magnets into this. I've chosen not to, but you know, you could easily have done so. But that's your page finished. And I think it just bringing that witch into that first page just makes it really interesting. And I think I'm glad that I went with the purple and the purple. Please comment below if you think I should have gone purple and orange. It's always interesting to see people's different ideas of colours. So I'm just going to put plenty of glue on the back of here. And that then, just making sure it's centred, is my first page done. And I will repeat my first page on my last page. So I'm going to have a repeating pattern with these. So I'm going to repeat this first page as my last. Right, so I hope you've enjoyed that. Please put any comments below. Please remember to subscribe. It's always nice to know that there are lots of people watching. Okay, thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.